Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are zeroing in on something incredibly specific, but honestly, it's absolutely crucial if you're tackling the Cambridge AS and A-Level Arabic Language 8680 exam. We're diving deep into the final task, specifically the quality of language component. Now, this is worth exactly 5 marks. And I know what you're thinking, 5 marks. That doesn't sound like a massive mountain to climb. But let me tell you, the difference between a solid B and a flawless A-star almost always comes down to these elusive, highly contested 5 marks. These are literally the marks that separate the good candidates from the truly exceptional ones. So stick with me, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a rock-solid, structured blueprint to rescue those dropped marks and absolutely lock in that top-tier grade.
Here is our blueprint for today. We'll cover 1. The 5-mark mystery, 2. Core language principles, 3. The technical methodology, 4. Critical evaluation insights, 5. Top examiner warnings, and finally, 6. Your exam success blueprint. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The 5-mark mystery. Where exactly do these marks go?
I want to pose this question directly to you. Why do students consistently lose these 5 marks? I mean, think about it. You study the vocabulary, you completely understand the grammar, so what's missing? Well, according to the actual assessment framework, the core struggle usually stems from 2 very specific high-level skills: evaluating evidence and drawing conclusions. When candidates look at that final task, panic often sets in. And what happens? They revert to writing a basic summary, rather than really stepping up to the plate and critically evaluating the evidence in front of them.
Moving on to Section 2, Core Language Principles. Building the foundation.
Now think about the ultimate trap that candidates fall into. It's what we call superficial breadth. This is when you just randomly list memorized facts, sort of throwing everything at the wall and hoping something sticks. But guess what? Examiners aren't looking for that. They are actually hunting for analytical depth. They heavily prioritize logical, structured reasoning over a superficial list of facts. They want to see precise definitions and crystal clear causal relationships. Essentially, they want absolute proof that you understand why something is happening, not just what is happening.
And here's where it gets really interesting. To truly excel, you've got to elevate your thinking. The principal examiner reports highlight something super important. Top-performing students demonstrate a connected, conceptual understanding that transfers seamlessly into unfamiliar contexts. It's like a giant puzzle. When you reference cross-topic connections, meaning you logically link different areas of the syllabus together, you achieve significantly higher marks. It basically proves to the examiner that you haven't just memorized the textbook, but you've mastered the theoretical architecture of the language itself.
All right, Section 3, the technical methodology, because the process matters.
So let's talk about the method mark strategy, because this is absolutely huge. You do not just get marks for magically arriving at a good conclusion out of nowhere. You must show your logical steps clearly to get the credit. Data interpretation skills are critical here. You need to extract information from the texts and tables, interpret the hidden relationships within that data, and then draw evidence-based conclusions. It's the visible working out of your thought process that actually earns you the reward.
Building right on top of that, the way you present your information requires strict adherence to professional formatting conventions. We're talking about applying proper headings, using the exact correct terminology, relying on appropriate formats, and providing clear, sharp annotations. It sounds basic, I know, but this practical application develops professional skills and shows the examiner you're operating at an advanced academic level. If you skip these conventions, you are literally just throwing easy method marks out the window.
Section 4. Critical Evaluation Insights, the climax of the exam.
This right here is your secret weapon, the Deconstruct, Solve, Evaluate framework. It is your step-by-step engine for solving problems systematically. First, identify the given information. Second, break it down into logical steps. Third, solve it systematically. Fourth, and a lot of people skip this, check for reasonableness. Ask yourself, does your answer actually make sense in the real world? And finally, fifth, make justified recommendations based entirely on evidence. If you train yourself to follow this standardized sequence, your analysis will be completely bulletproof. Plus, top-scoring candidates always demonstrate evaluative thinking. How? By questioning assumptions and actively considering different perspectives. When an exam asks you to compare, you must identify both similarities and differences. You've got to use specific comparative connectives to link these ideas, support every single point with hard evidence, and ultimately draw conclusions about their relative importance. It's a high-level balancing act, but it pays off massively.
Section 5. Top examiner warnings. Avoid the classic traps.
Listen up, because these are the top 3 blunders straight from the examiners themselves, the mistakes that consistently cost students those 5 marks. Number 1, answers are way too vague. Examiners want specific, gritty details, not sweeping generalizations. Number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation conventions. We just talked about headings and terminology, don't neglect them. And number 3, answers are not specific to the context given. Honestly, missing these is like leaving free marks on the table. I really want this massive examiner alert to sink in. I'm going to read it directly. The classic mistake is providing generic answers not specific to the question context. Always link every point to the given scenario. You hear that? Never, ever provide a memorized, generic textbook answer when a specific scenario is handed to you in the final task. It just won't cut it. It's a stark contrast. On one hand, you have a vague, generic definition. Sure, it might be factually correct in a vacuum, but it scores incredibly poorly. On the other hand, you have a highly specific, context-linked analysis that uses clear terminology and applies directly to the scenario at hand. You absolutely must apply the principles directly to the scenario to grab the full 5 marks for quality of language. Which brings us to Section 6, your exam success blueprint, putting it all together.
Let's lock this in. Use these 3 final, non-negotiable guardrails to structure your practice whenever you are tackling past paper questions. Step 1. Link every single point you make straight back to the specific scenario provided. Step 2. Show your clear working to ensure you capture all those juicy procedural method marks. And Step 3. Verify your formatting conventions. Double-check your headings, your terminology, and your annotations before you put your pen down.
At the end of the day, mastering the quality of language marks is definitely not about writing more words. It's about thinking systematically and presenting your analysis with razor-sharp precision. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you ready to trade that superficial breadth for real analytical depth on your very next past paper? Challenge yourself to apply this exact step-by-step method today and just watch as you secure that A-star. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy studying.